So, folks, look, this is simply why pHEX is very likely, very probably better, a superior option over eHEX. So we got someone here tweeting saying, here's the trip. $56 to end stake, an eHEX stake worth $45 at the moment. And you guys got to understand that this is $56 to unstake what is a $45 hex stake in the midst of a bear market. I don't know how many of you guys were around during the last bull market, but I remember how insanely stupid the Ethereum gas fees got. Guys, it got up to like several $100s for a simple swap on Uniswap or a simple send transaction. It was absurd, and that was only for Ethereum getting to around $3,000-$4,000. What the fuck do you guys think the Ethereum gas fees are going to be if we get to $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 per Ethereum? The gas fees come this next bull market for Ethereum are going to be prohibitively absurd. I will not be surprised if at near the top of the parabola comes sometime summer 2025 that gas fees on Ethereum get into the several $1,000 range. You're sure Ethereum might introduce some kind of scalability. We have a bunch of third-party dApps with what is it, Arbitrum, and many other ones, that are kind of alleviating some of the load on Ethereum mainnet. And we have a lot of these scaling solutions beginning to be rolled out, and that is great. But guys, even if we improve, scalability on Ethereum by 20%, 50%, even if we double it, even if we triple it, you got to understand the come next bull market, the amount of users adopting the network, it's going to 5x, it's going to 10x, it's going to 50x, it's going to 100x. So even if we improve scalability on Ethereum by a couple percentage points, even 1 or 2x, which is not at all guaranteed, might take half a decade to happen. But the amount of users using the network is outpacing the scalability. So my point is that gas fees are extremely likely to be a large problem on Ethereum, probably for a long time. And if you're a whale playing around with several $1 million, then perhaps the gas fees are negligible to you. But in terms of retail, which is not nothing, retail does matter. Whales, I think, how whales interact in the system is probably most important, but that's not to dismiss the importance of retail. And if retail is having to pay several $100s to stake and unstake hex, to swap, to buy hex, to send hex around on the network, guys, that's not usable. That's absurd. And we all understood this 2 years ago. This is the reason why Richard Hart launched PulseChain. This community all understood the extreme negative impact of Ethereum gas fees and how this problem is likely to be unsolved for quite some time, which is why Richard created PulseChain in the first place. This gas fee issue is making it prohibitively expensive to use hex. That's why we created PulseChain. And so it's essentially quite obvious when debating, whether to deploy capital on eHEX or pHEX. It's the same code, but a different feature set, where on the one hand, you have stupidly absurd fees, hundreds of dollars to swap, hundreds of dollars to stake, hundreds of dollars to unstake, hundreds of dollars to send, potentially on the Ethereum side, potentially years down the road, or tens of cents to buy, tens of cents to swap, tens of cents to send, tens of cents to stake or unstake. You have these two options: absurd fees or extremely reasonable fees. Where do you think the market is going to deploy their buy pressure towards? I don't know. This is difficult. Guys, so that is one reason why we see that hex on PulseChain is at a massive premium over hex on Ethereum. Hex on Ethereum is 35% below a penny. Hex on PulseChain is 42% above a penny. Guys, and it's not just me, in my opinion, telling you that hex on PulseChain is probably very likely a better long-term hold than eHEX, but we also have the God Whale, who sacrificed, I think it was 800 million eHEX to to the BankX guys who are known dumpers. They've just been dumping their hex, and now they're staking it and very likely just continually sell massive amounts of eHEX moving forward. We have a known giant whale in this ecosystem who's doing nothing but dumping and suppressing the price. And even if that one person goes away, we already know that the God whale is willing to send eHEX to people who are likely to hurt the eHEX price. So, as Richard Hart has clearly said countless times in the past, but now everyone has conveniently forgotten this because now this reality affects their own bags. And so everyone's conveniently forgetting what Richard Hart has told us for years, which is what matters when it comes to price performance is whales. You can onboard 100 of your buddies, each one of them putting in a couple of grand. That means nothing if one whale can enter the system and deploy millions, tens of millions, billions. What matters is whales in the whales behavior. We have whales on eHEX actively sending absurd amounts of eHEX to known dumpers. And even if this one known dumper gets rid of their 800 million hex, then Godwill can just send their another 800 million hex continuously over and over and over again to a bunch of different scammers. It is clear that whales in this ecosystem want to suppress the eHEX price. And so while I'm not saying that eHEX will die, I don't think it will die. What I'm saying is having massive whales in this ecosystem actively attempting to suppress the price and actively able to sell down the price for years to come on a network with absurdly high gas fees makes it rather obvious, in my opinion. I don't know, I might be crazy, you tell me, that pHEX, given this whole situation, starts to look like a better option than eHEX. And I'm betting I'm not the only one who sees this. I'm betting that people see this situation, see that there's whales actively attempting to suppress the price on eHEX. There being objectively a worse feature set on eHEX. Therefore, I think it's rather not insane to come to the conclusion that more buy pressure is likely to be directed towards pHEX moving forward for this foreseeable future, which is why I come to the conclusion that pHEX is probably likely to outperform eHEX moving forward in the long term. Now, the only case I can see where eHEX might do better, and in this case, this might even only be a short-term thing, is if eHEX gets sold down so absurdly that short term, it might be able to outperform pHEX just because there's such a massive absurd dump that gets maybe bought up, because it just gets dumped to such absurd levels, where the dichotomy between pHEX and eHEX becomes so absurd that the arbitrage opportunity becomes attractive, where you could scoop up hundreds of millions of hex at super cheap prices. Then in that case, yeah, I could see eHEX outperforming short term. And there might be periods where eHEX outperforms short term just because it's so oversold. But given that we understand that there's whales actively suppressing the price on eHEX, given that we understand the absurd cost of interacting with hex on Ethereum moving forward, again, guys, you tell me, but I do not think it is unreasonable. In fact, I think it is extremely reasonable to prefer pHEX over eHEX. And you got to be self-aware of what is motivating a lot of people, a lot of the OGs in this community to say, oh no, we're going to have parity. Oh no, eHEX is going to do long-term. Folks, is there a chance that maybe what they're trying to do is protect their own bags and their own value, and they don't actually care about what is the most optimal way that their community is going about things? Maybe what they're actually trying to do is protect their own value on eHEX. Did that ever maybe cross your mind as a potential? That's why we're seeing all these hex OGs talk about why eHEX is some great investment. Guys, the reason why I'm so fired up about this is because qualitative differences matter, okay? Everyone in this community understood that these little nuances in game theory and tokenomics were not just some kind of little thing. It was everything. These little nuances is the reason why Hex was superior to a Dogecoin, why Hex was superior to a Safe Moon. It was because of these little nuances, and we all understood this 2 years ago, but everyone has lost their mind in an attempt to cope with the absurdity we've been seeing. But not me. I haven't forgotten. I remember how Richard Hart spent 2 years saying nothing but that tokenomics, game theory, and these little nuances matter. You are allowed to notice these differences in these things, and these little differences do matter. It's the reason why we see a different chart from eHEX to pHEX. It's the reason why we see whales, dumping, tons of eHEX, essentially making eHEX wildly toxic, making pHEX the only reasonable place to deploy dry powder. These little nuances aren't just trivial. They are everything. And everyone in this community understood this 2 years ago, but everyone has very conveniently forgotten this in a disgusting attempt to prop up their own bags. It's disgusting, guys, because it's so self-evident, because I've been around a long time. I've seen how everyone is treating these extremely valuable lessons and principles as just narratives, and you could just change the goalpost as things go. For me, guys, this isn't just some just short-term pump and dump narrative pointing out the importance of tokenomics and game theory that you could just move on when it becomes convenient. No, these things actually matter. These differences will result in there being an extremely different chart with pHEX versus pHEX come 2025. And while I don't know any of these things for sure, no one knows anything of these things for sure, we can examine these qualitative differences and come to reasonable conclusions as to what's more or less likely to be a more or less optimal investment opportunity. And so, again, everyone understood this. Everyone in this community preached the importance of understanding these principles, of understanding qualitative differences, of understanding tokenomics and game theory, and how the differences in that leads to an impact in price performance. Everyone understood that 2 years ago. But now everyone's thrown that out the window, and it's disgusting. It's self-evident. It's hypocritical. And it's obvious to me, by the way. What else did I? Why is this here? What else did I kind of want to point out with kind of the whole eHEX versus pHEX discussion? Okay, so yeah. So look, that was that. I hope you guys appreciate that rant. Again, guys, if you do appreciate that rant, really, I super appreciate you guys all being here. This stream is just getting started. I still have not even gotten to the super juicy stuff. I still have more I want to comment on the X community stuff. I still have some super important stuff I want to comment on with the price structure of PulseChain and PulseChain that no one else is talking about. I'm still surprised no one else is talking about. So, guys, we're just getting geared up. Please, everyone, like and share the stream. This is a brand new channel. Every like, every share, every comment helps out tremendously. In fact, I believe I'm at about 920, 940 subscribers. I'm super close to 1,000 subs. So if you're new to this channel, I highly appreciate you if you subscribe, because we're getting super close to that milestone. Most people who start doing YouTube don't make it to 1,000 subscribers. For those of you OGs who know me from back in the day, I had another cryptocurrency YouTube channel, A Million to the Moon, where we got to 36,000 subscribers. And for those of you who know me from back in the day, I hope it comes across that I'm doing all these things from a principled position because I want my people to do well. Back in the day, I made a giant U-turn from talking about tons of different altcoins, tons of different active day trading, to more so talking about HEX when I realized the opportunity in this ecosystem, and that hurt my growth. But I did it anyways because I understood that that's probably a far better thing to do for my community. So I hope you guys appreciate and understand where I'm coming from. Great gains, and you got a copy on both chains, so why not focus more on the newest, faster, and cheaper chain? Well, Grit, you're not supposed to acknowledge differences between anything. The new HEX ecosystem narrative is that there's no differences between anything, and that everything's the same because of bonded liquidity. That's so stupid. I'm going to go on to address that later. Oh, actually, no. This is important. Another thing I wanted to address now. This whole argument of bonded liquidity. Oh, There's bonded liquidity, therefore everything is likely to move the same. This is self-evidently an extremely stupid point when you bring up this analogy in the context of an extreme example. For example, if I create a scam token, let's say I want to create a cryptocurrency that's backed by several weeks worth of patents doing work on novel coronaviruses, for example, right? And I create a token called securely created, accounted, or securely secured. Oh fuck. Anyways, I made a whole Twitter thing about me creating a scam token. If I bond my scam token with hex, does that guarantee that my scam token will perform well? No, it does not. The bonded liquidity is but one of many factors to consider. Hart's law is but one of many important factors to consider. It is not the end all be all. Just because I bond a scam token to PulseChain or Hex does not guarantee that it will perform well. It is just one of many influential factors. What matters a great deal more is buy pressure and how participants in the market behave. So this whole argument of oh, eHEX will perform well because of the bonded liquidity is so stupid and is such a poor argument because it's only one of many influential factors. Okay, just because there's bonded liquidity doesn't mean that, you know, if there's some massive whale in the ecosystem constantly dumping and attempting to suppress the price, that's not going to matter. That does matter. It matters a great deal more than the bonded liquidity. So thank you for bringing that up.